In this session, we are looking at the inevitable destination for every growing organization. The Centralized Signing Authority works perfectly fine for a small startup with a single team. But as an organization grows, decentralized becomes a liability. At enterprise scale, centralized control is no longer a matter of preference, it is a foundational requirement. Today, we will explore why the path to software trust always leads back to a central authority. Whenever we talk about centralization, we hit a wall of resistance. Developers fear bottlenecks. They fear that a central system will be slow, bureaucratic, and strip them of their autonomy. We must acknowledge this fear. It is usually rooted in memories of poor implementations. Our goal is to show that modern centralization is not about adding a person to the process. It's about adding a platform that enables speed through smarter security. The fundamental problem with decentralized signing is that it creates fragmented trust. When you have multiple teams acting as their own independent signing authorities, your governance fractures. You cannot have a single security posture if you have 10 different ways of signing code. Centralization creates a single control plane for trust, ensuring that the company speaks with one voice every time a piece of software is released. We have established that policies are useless if they cannot be enforced. A decentralized model relies on suggestions and best practices. However, a central signing service changes the game. It allows you to enforce policies like mandatory vulnerability scans or peer review checks uniformly across every team, every product, and every environment. It moves governance from a PDF on a shelf to a gate in the pipeline. One of the biggest security wins of centralization is the restoration of separation of duties. In a decentralized world, the build server usually holds the keys. This is a massive risk. In a centralized model, the build system can request a signature but it never possesses the signing keys. The key remains safely within the central authority. It only grants the signature once it verifies the build system's identity and the release approval. You cannot manage what you cannot see. In a decentralized environment, you are lucky if you have logs from a half of your signing events. A centralized authority changes that by providing total observability. Every single signing event, who requested it, what was signed, when it happened, and which policy allowed it, is recorded in one place. You gain a god's eye view of your entire release landscape. As we discussed earlier, revocation is usually an operational nightmare because keys are everywhere. When signing is centralized, however, revocation becomes a surgical tool. If a team is compromised or a project ends, you can withdraw the authority instantly and predictably from the central hub. You don't have to hunt for keys on developer laptops or hidden build servers. You just flip a switch at the source. The most important message for our engineering team is this: centralization does not mean manual approval. Modern centralized signing systems are built for APIs and continuous integration or continuous deployment. They operate automatically, enforcing your security policies at machine speed. By removing them, the burden of key management from the individual developer, you actually reduce friction, allowing them to focus on code while the system handles the trust. From a compliance perspective, centralization is a cheat code. Because the system is centralized, it generates audit-ready evidence by design. You no longer need to spend weeks reconstructing history from disparate logs. The central authority provides a continuous immutable record of every release, making your annual audits a routine check rather than a crisis. There is a simple security principle at play here. Security improves as the attack surface shrinks. Centralizations allows you to have fewer keys, less ownership ambiguity, and a small number of high security vaults to defend. Instead of trying to harden 10,000 developers' workstation, you can focus your alleged security resources on defending the one central authority that matters most. The consequence of moving to a centralized model is that trust becomes governable again. The enterprise regains control over its release authority without sacrificing the velocity that the business demands. You move from blind trust in your developers' keys to verified trust in your company policies. You are no longer just signing bids, you are defending your brand. To conclude our topic, we go with this. At scale, trust must be centralized to be controlled. This is not just an opinion or a best practice. It is an architectural reality of the modern software supply chain. If you want to move fast and stay secure, the path forward is clear. You must centralize your authority to liberate your developers. Thank you for following this series on the future of enterprise software trust.